Hi ladies, I'm back with a very different video today. I haven't done anything showing silicone or silicone work in a long time, so I thought I'd do a quick video about that. And this is a very simple um, video showing the process of silicone work. And I can get much more detail, but I just thought I'd show you a quick video today. So there's like tons of steps, probably 50 steps literally in between all this, but I just wanted to show you kind of from start to finish making a silicone baby. So here we're showing, this is a clay head that I have sculpted, and as you can see, he does not have ears. So just know that he is almost finished. He's a work in progress, and he is my first baby that I have sculpted myself, and I will be putting him into silicone, making him into a silicone doll. But he is clay. He's made out of polymer clay, and what I have done is I sculpt him. Well, he has a basically he has a ball made out of tin foil underneath, and then you sculpt on top of that, and it becomes this baby here. And for simple purposes today, we're just showing a silicone doll head and how that's done. But obviously, you know, you could have a full body, you could have limbs also. So we're just showing that today. But this is Beloved. I've already named him, and he is my first baby that I have sculpted into clay. And he is newborn size, maybe little, yeah, he's newborn size. So there he is. I still have to add his ears and his last touches, and then exciting, I will be making him into I will make it a mold for him, which you will see in just a minute, and then I will be pouring him the silicone into the mold and making him. I'm just starting with the head, ladies. I'm just going to start sculpting his head, and then I will be doing some limbs for him. So that's the first step. The artist will sculpt the full body doll, the doll head, or the limbs. So that's the example, the first step. Then the second step, now this looks very simple, is you have part A. Well, here's part A, sorry, part A and part B. And you have to mix these two together, and they have to be exactly equal. If you do not mix them together equally, it will throw off the recipe, so to speak, and the silicone will not come together and bond. And it's actually a chemical reaction, so it has to be exactly equal. And how I make sure that it's exactly equal, I actually measure it, the volume and the weight of it, on a very precise scale that's used for cooking, and I measure it. So what you do, I'm doing, like I said, I'm doing this real simply, is you would take an equal part of A and pour it into the measuring cup, or whatever you're going to be using to measure, and then you would take an equal part of B and pour it in. Then you would put a tint, which I did not get out, but it's basically like a paint. You would put a tint in there to tint it and stir it very well. And you stir it about 5 minutes. That's how long I stir mine, and you get it very good because you want to incorporate all the color throughout that silicone. So you have to watch your time because it will start setting, and you don't want it to go over a certain amount of time or you won't be able to work with it. So just pretend that there's silicone in here that's been mixed together, part A and B. You take this silicone that's in here, you put it inside this, and I can't obviously put it inside there because I have one hand, but you put it inside this chamber, and then you turn it on and have it on for a few minutes. It varies. And if I have time, I do 2 sessions of this. And what it does is you turn it on, and it pulls out the bubbles that are going to form. So it pulls out the bubbles, so it makes, when you pour it, it makes not, bubbles to form in the silicone. It makes little holes and stuff and imperfections. So you have the silicone here, you put it inside the chamber, it's like a pot, put the top on, turn it on over here, and it will run. And then you can watch it and make sure it doesn't overflow, because it can overflow quickly, and that's not good. So you just watch it through the glass top here, and see, you can see down in there, it's just like a steel pot, a little pot there. You watch it bubble up, and if it starts getting too close to the top, you pull back on one of these levers, and here's the gauge. It will go down. So after you do that, now, okay, so just pretend the silicone is still in here. We've gotten the bubbles out of it with the vacuum. chamber. Now, what we're looking at here, now the part we get ready to pour the silicone into the mold. This is the mold, and for purposes, I've taken a little bit apart so you can see. This is actually the head. This is his head. Example of a head. The soft part right here. See how soft it is? It's like rubber. Then you can look inside there. That is where you pour the silicone into this hole. On the outside is this hard shell. It's like it is just like a hard shell. It's sort of like paper mache, but much harder than that. So that is called the mother mold. The hard part, the hard shell, is called the mother mold. That goes over the glove mold. The soft part I just showed you, the rubbery part, is the glove mold. So you put it over and kind of put it together. And I don't totally put mine on totally tight, because if you put on really tight, it will make lines and indentations in the silicone head, and you don't want that. So you just put it on, and then I loosely usually put a rubber band around it, and see how it's sitting. It sits nice like that. And actually, how you would pour this is you would turn it upside down, and it does rest on it, like I said, here. It will rest on top of its head. That's the crown of the head down here. This is the neck. So you pour, so I would just pretend there's silicone the bubbles have been taken out. So I would just pour it in here. When you pour right in the center. You hit for the center and at the bottom, and you pour, and you can lift it up a little bit, the stream, like this. So I pour it all in there. Then after that, I'm one-handed, so I can't actually do it. But after that, I would pick up the whole thing. There's a rubber band right here. So I pick up the whole thing, the whole mold, and I would tap it all around. Tap it on the bottom, underneath, tap it on the sides. I would tap it for about 5 minutes. That also helps release the bubbles. So I do that. Once that's done, then guess what, ladies? It is ready to set. So I would put a rubber band on it, like I said, lightly put a rubber band around there. So this would set and set up and cure for about, I like it to cure for, a good, I actually usually cure it 24 hours, but I get excited, so sometimes I don't want it to cure that long. So I'll cure it for about 9 to 12 hours, and then I will go and demold it. So when you demold it, demolding, well, it depends on what it is. Full bodies are very difficult to demold for obvious reasons. There's just a lot more parts to it, and it's really hard. And I've actually sprained my hand and my fingers demolding the full body babies. It's really a lot of work. When I say it's like birthing a baby, it is. You could sprain your hands, and it's hard and tough to get the baby out, because the full body, because you don't, of course, want it to tear or anything. But the heads are actually pretty easy to get out. So you would demold it, obviously take the hard shell off, open it, and take the head out. So this is the example of a head. This is the one from this mold, actually. So this is an example of a head, and it is from this mold I just showed you. So you would demold, and this is what a blank silicone head would look like. And as you can see, there was bubbles here. Even though I did all that to prevent it, there's still bubbles. So you would make a repair here on the bottom of the ears. And what happens when it happens, you just take it out, and there's like a little part of that ear lobe missing. That's a bubble that formed and popped. So I would repair those. And this one I didn't do too great on repairing, but I was first learning, because I haven't even painted this one. This was like my first baby actually ever poured, I think. So anyway, I've learned a lot, and I'm able to repair much better now. So that is a blank silicone head. After that, you would go over and then you would paint it. Okay, you would soak the head for a few hours in soapy water, dish detergent. Water, kind of scrub a little bit, dry it off, let it air dry. Then you would be ready to paint. Okay, the paints for silicone work are actually silicone. They're actually silicone. So think of the paints like sticky silicone, because that's how they bond. You cannot paint silicone with anything else but silicone paints, because it won't bond. If you try to paint it with air dry, you try to paint it with heat set, it will not stay. So this is silicone paint, and it has different colors. You water it down kind of the same way as other paints. You would put it in here, very tiny bit, and then you would you actually cut it and water it down to very thin consistency, like almost like pretty much like water. And you do that with mineral spirits. Anyway, I don't want to get into all that. But so you would just pretend like I had the paint in here, and because like I said, each step is actually a lot of steps. There's about 15 steps just into the painting. So after you say you paint the baby, the way you want it, get all the colors on it, the very last step is that you would get a matte layer, which is a clear layer of silicone. Now these have pigment in it, but it's still silicone. You would get a clear layer, which I didn't show you, but there is some that just comes totally clear. And actually you put some of the clear in here and then you put the pigment, but they're still made out of silicone. So the last layer, to seal everything in, you would, and to keep the shine off, you would just do a total clear layer, no pigment. And after that, when you put the clear layer on, you dust it with what they call matte powder. And that actually, the matte powder is also made up of very tiny, fine silicone bits. So then you do that. Then you let that, I do let that cure the last the last clear layer with the matte powder. I do let that go for 24 hours because you want to make sure that's totally dry, because that is the most crucial step of painting your doll. If that does not come out well, the last layer, the matte layer, the clear layer with the powder on it, if that does not come out, it does not cure, it does not dry, your whole baby will be ruined. That's all I can explain it. And silicone paint is not forgiving like with air dry or heat set paint on vinyl. You can strip that off and just start over. You cannot strip silicone paint. If you do try to strip it, it will tear up the silicone and it's just not good. So you don't want to strip. Anyway, so that's how you would paint it. So just pretend like after I waited 24 hours, I washed the baby again. You wash the baby. And I do it in Dawn, this really good, strong, special Dawn dish detergent. I wash them and then pat them dry or let them air dry, and then they'll be done. Then they've been painted. So here is an example of, well, gosh, that's awful. It's that late. But here's an example of, this is Primrose. I poured her into a mold, just like I showed you. But she has a head and limbs molds, and molds for her limbs. And I painted her, so she is done. And I put that silky layer of matte. You can't see it, but if she doesn't look shiny, then it's done its job. The last layer, because she doesn't look shiny. And so there she is. That's Primrose. So an example of a baby that has been painted and matted, and she is complete. And I did give her some eyelashes. So I just want to show you, ladies. And she's like, Mama, you are putting that sun right in my eye. I'm standing in front of the sun and in front of the window. Just block the light from her. So there she is. And I just want to show an example of a finished baby. Let's see if I can. Oh, I'm sorry, I know the light is horrible. I'm actually standing for light. But there she is. There's Primrose. She is a partial silicone, meaning her body is cloth, her head and limbs are silicone. So I kind of just wanted to show you a different type of video today. Just showing the how it is to the process of making a silicone baby from start to finish. And like I said, it's a very abbreviated, simple process that I showed you. It is much more in-depth and complicated than that. Because each of those steps has about, each of those things I showed you, like the 5 steps, within those parts, they have about 20 steps each. So it takes quite a bit. Just the painting alone has like 20 steps. And then the actually pouring the silicone into the mold has 20 steps. And then I didn't even tell you about making a mold, but then there's a whole nother thing to make this mold. And that's probably another 20 steps to make a mold. So it's a lot of work, but I just want to show you like how the process is, simply put, because people are kind of interested in that if you don't see it all the time. So I just want to show you and show you my little sculpt beloved. And please be kind, because he's my very first baby that I have ever sculpted. I know he kind of looks funny, kind of looks like an old man, but I kind of love him. So I've worked hard on him and I like him a lot. So he does still need ears, and I need to refine his details, but pretty soon, in the next month or two, I will be making his mold and pouring him into silicone. I'm really excited about that. So you'll be seeing him again, but next time you see him, he's going to be into silicone. He'll be a silicone head and he'll be a cuddle body. So I'll talk to you soon, ladies. I appreciate each and every one of you. I just want to share some silicone information and work with you. And I'll talk to you very soon. And I'm going to try to come back with Mary. I know I've been promising Mary, the mother of Jesus, baby. But I promise you that she's sitting over there. I'll show you real quick. She's sitting over there. She's mad because I moved her. Because usually she sits right in here in front of this desk. But she's mad because I moved her. But we'll be doing that video soon. And I appreciate each and every one of you. I will talk to you very soon. Stay safe and stay blessed.